looks like we're live. It looks like we're live. Looks like we're live. Pay my telephone bills, pay my automobiles. If you did, you could give me chills. I don't think you're true, 'cause you and me are through. Pay my telephone bills, pay my automobiles. If you did, you give me chills. Or whatever the words are. I'm on a massive Beyonce kick at the moment. Destiny's Child, what's up? Question. That's what we're here for. Hello everyone. I hope we're live. Daniel is still in America, so it's me again. You've got to put up with me, I'm afraid. Which, you know, is 50% okay, isn't it? I think. Welcome to viewers' comments and questions. If you're new, there's normally two of us here, me and Daniel. Daniel is not here. Please let me know that you can see and hear. I'm reasonably confident everything is operational. 'Cause you and me are through. And then you rested by my car. Drive it around and don't fill up the tank. Oh man. How are we, everyone? Had a good week? Hope so. Let's see if we're on. Sebastian Broll is on from Heidelberg in Germany. Hello. Sam Colson is on. BV, thank you so much for moderating. As always, BV keeps the chat civil and moderates the place. A bit more volume, you know, because we like the volume. Sam Coulson is on. Did I say that already? Plexico Duncan is on. Hello, mate. I've turned the super chats on tonight, so we'll have a few. Daniel Thornton is on. Andrew Jones is on. All good, says Robert Murphy. Thank you. Greetings from sunny Massachusetts, says Matt Swanton. Hey, Matt. Nice to hear from you. Tom Hillman. Hi, Mick. Hi, Tom. Tross Jern. All is good. Cheers from Michigan, says Brian Carpenter. Hi, Brian. Andy White is on. We need Rosie to present with a telly. Yeah, that's a good idea. Right on cue. She starts barking. You're live, says Music Therapy Les. Now gear this. Hi, Mick. Now gear this. Serenade Surprise. Danielle Williams. Hi, Danielle. So nice to be hearing from many old friends and new friends. Thank you for joining us. Happy Hockey says, nice of Mick to keep things going during the summer holiday. Used to miss the leg ends for a few weeks every summer. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any during August. Oh dear, we are buffering. Oh no. Oh, I don't believe it. Please tell me we're on air. Oh, are we on? Are we on? It's hard to know. Moon says, is Dan running for president? Well, you know what? It was good timing, wasn't it? I think he'd be in with a shot, to be honest. Oh God, I didn't quite mean that to come out as it did. Are we on? Please say we're on. Yeah, I think we're on. Okay, I'm going to get into the super chats because in case we get any more hilarity of internet hassle. Still live, Mick. Thank you, BV. Yeah, okay. Still on, but minor buffering, says Dave Johnson. Okay. Harrowing Shadow says, laugh my ass off. Yeah, I know. It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. Anyway, well, let's see if we can fight through the buffering. I'm going to head straight to the super chat. And Rob Brewer says, mostly on. Hello, Rob. Good to hear from you, buddy. You sound like a vicar starting his sermon, says Eric Drave. Well, no, I better not do that. Hi from Brazil, says Daniel Rozek, or Zorek. And I'm sorry if I've said that wrong. Nova Scotia, Todd Roy is in the house. Hey, Todd. Groovy. All right. Let's get into the old super chats then and see what's going on. Let's see how many we've got and I'll decide when to turn them off. All right, Plexico is first in. Duncan, great to hear from you, buddy. Oh, we are buffering again. Please no, please no. Why does it do it? Why does it do it? Okay, I've just switched the bit rate to low. Let's see if that makes any difference. God, I'm really sorry, folks. It's so boring. We'll just give it a second to catch up, and say that we'll answer Duncan Plexico's question first. What to do? What to do? Don't even know how to diagnose it. I think it's the machine. I do think it's the machine. Anyway, hopefully we're back on. Duncan says, "Hi Mick. Hope the summer is great. If you found out your favourite guitar was a 3-piece body instead of 1 or 2, would that bother you?" Well, this is a really interesting question, right? Because the assumption is that 1 piece of wood for the body is the best. It's not true. I had a very interesting conversation with a lovely man called Andreas Klopman. Andreas Klopman makes amazing pickups. He also makes the pickups for Thomas Blug, among many other people. I've got some in my custom shop, the Gold Strat. Now, Klopman told me that the best Strats are 3-piece bodies. Something to do with the harmonics and the way the resonances happen by the bridge and the pickups being attached to the middle piece and the outer bits being separate. Now, I can't say if that's true because I clearly have no idea. This is 1, 2. I can see 2 definite pieces. Might be a 3rd piece there. Yeah, definitely 2, this one. Anyway, Klopman says 3-piece Strats are the best. So whether you agree with that or not, doesn't really matter. But so no, it wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't bother me at all. What bothers me is if it plays good and it feels good. It's a nice lightweight. I do like light guitars. And that it has nitrocellulose finish. One thing I really dislike on guitars is a hard poly finish. Just don't like the way it feels or looks. So it's a visual thing. I don't necessarily think it is a big deal for the tone, but you may disagree. So yeah, thank you. That's a thoughtful question. Anyway, as I said, Klopman says the best ones were 3-piece. I'm going to turn the super chat off because I think we're going to end up having trouble looking at the buffering situation. Yes, so I'm going to turn the super chats off. There's only a few in anyway, so we should hopefully get through them. I wonder what is going on. I wonder what is going on. Just bear with me, all right? Just bear with me. I know dead air is just ridiculous, but please just...
Is it still working?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're back on air. Sorry, guys. Literally no idea. Literally no idea.
Sorry, housekeeping.
I suspect most of you have probably turned off, so we'll just we'll whip through the super chats. Okay.
Software, not internet.
Yeah. Okay. Sam Colson. Hi, Sam. Let's take a question from you. Back now. Thanks, Beeve. Okay. Sam says, you often say you can't talk about the tech stuff. Just a note to say more of it, please. I'd love an episode on going more depth into the TPS studio. I might do it over the summer, actually, as a vlog, because we don't have enough videos to cover us over the summer, what with various vacations and stuff. So I might do that, just an update on where we are with production. I actually think I've got to the point now where it's overblown. It's too complex and it takes too much time, and it removes the flow from being able to shoot because it's just too complicated. So you got to go there to come back. So whether we simplify it a bit or not, I don't know. As you know, I'm always striving to make it better, better, better. But there comes a point where it's like, okay, now you need people to run it because everything requires monitoring and using. So really pleased with our really pleased with our results. The audio is just fantastic. I think the video is good, and so I don't really want to make it any worse, but yeah, so maybe, Sam, that's a good idea. Daniel Thornton, hi Daniel. Daniel says, greetings from Seattle. I'll be joining you on September the 6th. Great, we look forward to seeing you. And I couldn't be happier. Thank you both for all you do. Please take one from the chat from me. Okay, I will. Let's go for a question from the chat then. This is from Jazzy Jr. Hi Jazzy Jr. Jazzy Jr. says, I wanted to run a pedal in the effects loop, but have a switch to also allow it to be put in the front of the amp. Is that possible? I don't know if there's more of your question somewhere, but that is actually a pretty difficult thing to do. It can be done. The Victory V4 series of preamp pedals had some switching in them that enabled that. I rather suspect you could do it in G3 if you wanted to route that way, given that there's multiple custom routing options that you can set via preset. So that's going to work in G3. But in terms of something simple, going to be difficult because you kind of have to disengage the effects loop in order for it to hit the front. If you draw a diagram, that will start to make more sense. Because depending on your amp, physically having something in the effects loop means that it's connected. So I'm seeing that, an AB box, and doing it that way. I'd have to draw a diagram, I'm sorry to say, Daniel. Good luck. Jazzy Jr. Sorry, Jazzy Jr. Whit Anderson. Hey, Whit. Whit says, taking advantage of Dan not being here to prevent this question. He says, do you have a standout or fondest moment when you thought, wow, this Dan fellow is clever? I think there are many. The first one was when we did a clinic. I was working with Victory amps at the time, just before that pedal show was in existence. And we did a clinic performance with Guthrie Govan where he used all the Victory amps for different songs and he switched through them through the night. But he wanted his pedal board, some effects to go in the front, some to go in the loop, and just be able to switch that on the fly between 5 different amps. And I thought that was easy, of course, because I didn't know anything. And Dan sort of explained to me after he'd done it and built loads of things with transformers and clever things that actually it's not very easy at all. And I thought, wow, that is really serious to keep somebody like Guthrie happy, right? That's pretty tough. So, but yeah, and they happen all the time. The way he sees things is definitely a lot linear, and it's often not logical, but it is gifted in a vision point of view. Like he sees the whole picture pretty quick. And sometimes piecing that picture back together can just take a minute. So in a nutshell, that's how that pedal show works. Because I do the piecing together, he does the big view of some things. So sometimes we have to make the jigsaw carefully. But yeah, all the time. Very thoughtful question, Whit. Thank you. We are buffering again. I'm just going to give the thing time to catch up again. I don't know. Maybe this is working. Maybe this isn't working. Okay, with apologies once again, let's move right along. Sam80PR. Sam80PR. Hey Mick, a while ago, you mentioned the noise issue when stacking amps due to transformers acting as antennas. I have a Boogie Mark 7 on top of a Mark 5. Mark 7 is noisy even when the Mark 5 is off. Any suggestions? I didn't even know there was a Mark 7. Really? I'm out of the game. So are you saying that the Mark 7 isn't noisy if you take it off the top of the Mark 5? Is that what you're saying? Even when it's off? Don't know. I've got a Mark 1 down there that I can't use near any amp. It's so unbelievably noisy. The minute you put it next to anything, it just starts to hum terribly. So I've stopped using it, which is incredibly annoying because I want to use it. But I don't know is the answer. Go to a tech, I would say. I know that sometimes putting my two rocks next to each other, they've got to go a certain way around to make it as less noisy as possible. I'm just going to guess that if you've got reverb, right, and maybe someone can put me right in the chat here, if you've got reverb, which is something that's pretty sensitive to noise, has a basic amplification circuit in it, plus the whole thing is a big antenna, one would assume. We know that reverb tanks are susceptible to noise. Secondly, you've got preamp tubes, right, generating huge amounts of gain, like insane amounts of gain. So if you add gain and noise and it's all in proximity with shielding that's not complete and total, then you're always going to get noise. So I'm going to suggest that it's a proximity issue. But maybe if there's anyone in the chat can put me right on that, that would help. Failing that, go and see a tech. If you can diagnose, another thing to try is turning things through 90 degrees. Sometimes, weirdly, that can make a difference in terms of physical proximity, because, as you know, when we get RF, there's a 360 degree circle of where the RF will be okay and where it will be bad. So try that. Try all kinds of different positions, amps on and off, and see if that makes any difference. Failing that, time for a tech. I don't know if you could get into putting them in metal cases and things like that, but that just seems like too much of a faff. Good luck. Good luck. Benjamin Hooper. Hello, Benjamin. Benjamin says, "Hi, Mick. I love TPS. I'm used to playing TPS wet, dry, loud. What would I need in order to emulate this same rig, but for DI, for an open mic gig? For example, a project with an acoustic guitarist." Well, you just need to replace the two amps with two direct solutions. Now, one of the issues with direct solutions, sometimes they're often digital, right? So they'll be subject to different amounts of latency. And if you're running TPS wet dry, that means your dry signal is present in both amps all the time. And if they're not in phase, you're going to get all kinds of trouble. So maybe look at a analog option, something like the Simplifier by, always forget the name of the company. Anyway, it's quite a complex name for the company and I always forget it. Simplifier, which is an analog thing. What else could you do? Two little amp heads that have got a DI on them, something like a Rev D20, something like that. I'm sure there's dual routing possibilities in something like the Strymon Iridium, isn't there? Maybe. There might be a single box that's got a dual routing through it. So go for that. Failing that, you want two of the same thing. So let's say you had two universal audio of their amp pedals, you know, like the Lion and the Dream. I can't imagine that the latency is going to be too different to worry too much, or two Dreams or two Lions. Victory V4 series, pedalboard mounted preamps and amplifiers. Some of them are just preamps, some of them have a Class D power section in as well. Something like that could work great. Valve preamp in the style of Kingsley type thing. Or the only thing you really need to make sure of is that there is some sort of speaker simulation, because if you're coming straight from a preamp into a PA system, you've got no speaker simulation and you kind of need that. Maybe look at something like the New Neighbor Iconoclast. That's got speaker simulation. There's loads of speaker sim things. So yeah, you need something that's going to simulate an amplifier and a speaker. And there's numerous devices on the market that will do that. And then you can have it all on your pedal board, direct to the two channels of the PA. Happy days. Personally, I would take two little amps, tiny ones, like, I don't know, Pro Juniors or two Behringer Infinium 5 watts or something like that. Because the whole thing of direct is just, then you have to get into monitors, etc. Even when I do acoustic gigs, I use an amplifier because I don't want to give a cable to a sound engineer and go, there you go, this is for you, because they might not have a great deal of experience with the pickup I use, or they might not know how I play. So I take an amp, I get my sound right, they just get a DI, they don't have to worry about it, don't have to do anything. I hope that's helpful. So be aware of latency, and maybe just get two of the same thing, two small things. Boss do one, I believe, IR something or other. That may well have dual signal paths. Somebody might be suggesting this in the comments, if there's anybody still left here. DSM and Humboldt, says Brian Carpenter. Thank you, Brian. That's very kind of you to remind us that. Patrick de Felice says, do you think the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe would be able to compete with the cab and head in a live scenario? Depends what cab and head. I've heard Hot Rod Deluxes outshout 50-watt Marshalls just because of the particular curve and whatever speakers are in the Marshall cab. So absolutely, they are loud amps. But of course, it depends what cab and head. Yeah. We are still here, says Perilous Temple and Ryan Guntwich Black. Thank you, guys. Obviously, we're starting to flip in buffer again, aren't we? It's so boring. It's so boring. Andrew, I'm selling gear for financial gain. No, he's not doing that. He's saying, have you ever sold something you really regretted, or did you find something else that got you 90% of the way there? Anyway, so Andrew is saying you've got something that's really valuable, you need some cash, so you sell it, you buy something cheaper, and do you regret that? Yeah, I've had to do that a few times, actually. Once was in the financial crash of 2007, 08. Had to sell everything. I nearly lost my house and some other things, and that was really boring. Yeah, I suppose you've got to be pragmatic about it, haven't you? You know, your life is ultimately more important than playing guitar, unfortunately. Things like eating and paying rent and mortgages and all that kind of stuff, keeping your kids fed, it is it is more important. So needs must. I've definitely been in situations where the gas has got completely out of control and you've just got too much stuff, and that's a good time to sell stuff. You might say that Dan and I are in that situation at this moment, but yeah, it's never nice to have to sell stuff you love, but the other way to look at it, flip it on its head and see it as an opportunity. So, you know, you may be a bit disappointed at having to sell something, but it's like, okay, well, what opportunity opens up here then? Because I've always found that the most inspiring people I meet in life, when something bad happens to them, their first response is not, oh, this is terribly bad. It's, what's the opportunity here? And it's a particular personality trait that seems to go along with certain people, and it's very inspiring. So maybe that's a way to look at it. What didn't I like about the guitar? What was it that annoyed me about it? How can I fix that? So at the end of the day, your relationship with the things you own is under your control. So I could get very philosophical at this point and start talking about identification with thoughts and objects is part of the human condition and part of what makes us all so self-obsessed and a bit depressed sometimes. And if we stop doing that, we stop putting so much store into things, into possessions. Now I am going to sound like a Buddhist, even though I'm not one of those. You can just change your relationship with it. Take the rain, for example. Oh no, it's raining. Oh, I'm so sad. Brilliant, it's raining. Awesome. We get a wet kit on, the dog gets wet, she gets a wash after. It will be an enlivening experience. It's up to you. It's up to you. Punotted bumhucker. We're getting up to 83% buffering now, so I'm assuming it's going to fall over. Yeah, I think we're still on. Good. I think we're still on. Penalty Bumhucker says, where is the Knoll shirt? Swear word off, stand back. I'm about to play an E minor, which was the quote from the Noel Gallagher interview. I need one. Greetings from Munich, from Toby. Yeah, I don't think we could put that on a t-shirt really and get away with it. Maybe we could. Maybe we could. It is sort of a family show somewhere down the line. Jason Sear said, I love the Classic Amps Cranked show. Getting to know the big three is foundational to amp tones has really helped tune my ears to what may be the most crucial aspect of the ecosystem. Yeah, I think that whole ecosystem combination is discussion is extremely important, right? Because we associate certain sounds with Strats and with Tellys and with Marshalls and with Tube Screamers, but it's not until you put them all together that it starts to make sense. One thing I was expecting from that video, which didn't necessarily emerge, I mean, actually, they were significantly different. So that put that theory to bed. Let's have a look. Is this BV trying to contact me? Jason Sears, last in with the super chats this week. Although I will just double check. Says, oh no, that was the last one. Thank you, Jason. I'm just going to check that we don't have any more. With apologies for the poor service again. Bruce Wilkie. Bruce says, I use a Kemper, but I'm building a new small board for real amps, super reverb especially. What are your 5 non-negotiables and favourite power supply, tuner not included? I am going to pause. We'll let the buffer go and then we'll get back on air. I'm really sorry. Okay, back on. Let's try one last time. We will try one last time. And it's Bruce Wilkie. Hi, Bruce. Sorry if your question got cut off there. So Bruce says he uses a Kemper, but he's building a new small board for real amps with a super reverb. Especially, what are the 5 non-negotiable pedals that would go with that? And favourite pedal power supply, tuner not included. Okay, pedal power, we always use Dan's stuff. So the Gig Rig, Dan is, if you don't know, Dan owns a company called the Gig Rig. That makes the best pedal power supplies, and we often get accused of bias. We get all kinds of things said about that, but they just are. It's modular, it's expensive, it's a pain in the arse to put together sometimes. But the number of bricks we've been through that fail, that are not isolated even though they say they are, etc, etc, etc. So we use Dan's stuff, the Gig Rig stuff, which is not to say that there aren't other good power supplies out there. There are, especially some really compact ones. J-Rocket have just done some ones that look really good. Walrus Audio have just done some that look good. I've seen too many of the Strymon ones fail, I'm sorry to say. I've had T-Rex ones fail. The Dunlop ISO brick, never had one of those fail. I've had many of those over the years. So, I don't know. It's contentious to say that Dan's stuff is the best, but it is. I believe it to be so. So that's what I would use. Not only that, once you get invested in a system, it makes sense to keep using it. So sometimes we'll do small board builds, and you put Dan's like kind of overblown pedal power supply on a tiny little board, and inevitably the comment comes back saying, what the hell are you using that for? And the answer is because I own it already, and it is modular, and you can make it bigger and smaller, etc. So, but to caveat all of that, the power supply market is completely saturated with really good stuff. Another brand to look at is Cioks, C-I-O-K-S. I really like the look at their stuff as well. Compact, lots of different options. So check out Cioks as well. Right, 5 pedals. Dan and I always approach this the same way. It's going to be at least 2 gain pedals. So that gives you 3 sounds, right? It gives you your amp without a pedal. It gives you that pedal, that pedal. Oh, gives you 4 sounds, and them both together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've got 4 levels of gain and volume out of 2 pedals, assuming they're single sound pedals. And which ones you choose is really up to you. For me, if it was a super reverb, first would always be a TS-808 Tube Screamer, because I love that sound to my very core. And then some sort of boost after that, either after or before, depending on whether you want it to be louder or quieter. But yeah, so 2 gain stages, 1 modulation, at least 1 modulation. Dan would choose a flanger. Or a chorus. I would choose a harmonic tremolo every day of the week. Jam pedals, Harmonious Monk. It's our pedal. We love it. And I used it a great deal on Thursday night with my band. And or a rotary speaker simulator, but it has to be the Hughes and Kettner Tube Rotosphere. I'm sorry to say. Expect to see a lot of that on this Friday show with Warren Haynes. So yeah, 2 gains, 1 wobbly, a delay, at least 1 delay, whether you use echo. So Dan and I tend to use at least 2 principal echo sounds. One will be a slapback. So that would be milliseconds between 50 and 120, something like that. Well, that's kind of doubling delay into slapback echo, which is a great thing to use in solos. It's a great thing just to punch you out of the mix. Wonderful, wonderful sound. Secondly, a tappable, longer echo that'll take you from, I don't know, 300 and something up to 500 and something, which covers the vast majority of quarter note taps for songs. So yeah, definitely at least 1 echo, and then 1 other, and then that's really up to whatever you like the sound of. If I'm using an amp that doesn't have reverb, so in your case the Super Reverb's got fantastic reverb, you don't need to worry about that. But if I'm using a Marshall, or my TS1, 2-Rock TS1 doesn't have any reverb, it would be a reverb pedal. But if the amp does have reverb, it might then be an Octafuzz, or it might be a wah-wah, depending on the gig. And then that's where you look through your set list and go, what do these songs require? So yeah, 2 gains, at least 2 gains, 1 wobbly, 1 delay, and then an other that suits your set. That's where I would start, and you'll get a lot of tones out of all of that. Groovy. Okay, I'll just check the chat. We are starting to buffer again, so I think what I'm going to do, with apologies, is just have a quick look at the chat, and then I think we might call it a day and say sorry once again, folks. Yeah. George Scully says, do you not like the Strymon Lex for Leslie at all? Seems popular on Nashville session boards. Yeah, man. It sounds killer, right? I think that's what Jake was using. Oh, no, he was using Eventide H9. Did a gig on Thursday, the Mick Taylor Blues Implosion, which is my band, which I've just started. Look, check it out. Awesome. We did our first gig and it was brilliant. And Jake's got an H90. The other guitar player, Jake Loosemore, has an H90 which he uses for all of his wobbly sounds. And it sounds killer. And the Lex sounds killer. However, when you've heard the Rotosphere, when you live in the world that Dan and I live in, which is analog, loud, an absolute bare minimum of digital modelling, the real analog stuff, to me at this point, sounds so much better. I'm willing to put up with the hassle in order to get the sound. So, but yeah, of course they're great. And what, Book of Act's going to use it, Guthrie Trapp's going to use it, all amazing players that are far ahead of where I am in the playing world are going to use it and be happy with it. So it's just one opinion. It's worth pointing out. DMK75 says, hi Mick, my question, is there a way of keeping a rig consistent? I use 4 gain pedals into Fender Blues Deluxe. The simple setup sounds so different per venue. Yeah, man, everyone who's ever done regular gigs feels your pain at this moment, because different rooms, different EQs, the amount of reflective surfaces, it just changes things radically in terms of the EQ response. One of the reasons why Book of Act puts that G7 on his, one of the many reasons he puts the G7 on his board, because he can tweak quickly, right? So that could be an answer, like a master EQ. Other than that, I mean, I've spent years fighting that and being tremendously frustrated with it. But actually, I think you just got to go with it, play the music, try not to worry. And yeah, maybe an EQ pedal could help in some way. The other pedal I used the other night was Yuki Hayashi came in from Free the Tone last week. He was in the UK and he came to visit. It was really great to see him. I've known Yuki for, oh, it must be nearly 20 years now, but he brought in his Dumble-inspired overdrive pedal, Custom Shop one. And I used that at the gig because I really like the sound of it. And it's got a variable voltage control. So you've got your gain and your output right. Because one of the issues I have with a rig is some nights it sounds really gainy and a bit compressed. And some nights it's like, like poking you in the eyes with the transients. Yuki's put a couple of things on the overdrive land, which enable you to quickly change that sort of bit more squashy and compressed, bit more headroomy with a variable voltage control, in addition to a couple of other controls. I actually found it really super useful. So there's all that kind of thing. But the moment you start thinking about it too much and it takes your mind off the gig, that's a real problem, because you then, I think you have to find a way of just forgetting that and playing the gig. Okay, right. Before we buffer ourselves out of the game, Experience Days. Thank you to everyone that bought tickets for Experience Days last week. We put them on sale, and we're really sorry to those of you who missed out who wanted to come. It is a bit of a bun fight, unfortunately, in the shopping cart there, but that's how it goes. We've got people coming from Seattle, from California, from Sweden, from Finland, from Belgium, from New York, from Ireland, from Germany, from Holland. And of course, England, Scotland and Wales. It is flipping amazing. Thank you to everyone who's booked. We really appreciate it. Shipping from the store. Please buy something from the store. Business is absolutely crap at the moment. So I think it is for a lot of people, to be fair. We now offer free shipping on orders over 50 quid to everyone in the UK. So if you're in the UK, over 50 quid free shipping. And there are other shipping offers for international customers. Apparently we've got amazing new shipping rates to Canada and Australia. So if you've been put off by the shipping rates to Canada and Australia, we have via UPS some new rates, and you'll like those, especially on larger parcels, so you can buy loads of stuff. And finally, please don't be buffering. We've got these in. I've been wanting to do these for months. Check these out, right? Overshirts. So I don't know about you. My uniform is a pair of jeans, t-shirt, shirt. We've got these in blue and in khaki. Lovely cotton shirts. Look, check it out. All right. So they're really nice. They're on the store now. Collar up, collar down, depending on how you want to rock it. Tonight I'm gonna rock it. Tonight I'm gonna rock it tonight. So that's good. And then there's a khaki one as well, which we really like. We appreciate. I'm 50 years old, and I'm getting to a point in my life where wearing a t-shirt all the time is starting to. Well, sometimes I don't want to wear a t-shirt. Sometimes I want to wear a shirt. So here we are. Here's the khaki one. Nice. Alright. Lovely embroidery. So yeah, overshirts. They're in the That Pedal Show store now. Surprisingly affordable, as you would expect. Yeah. Good. John77 is happy. Todd Roy is happy. Yeah, we hope you like him. Sizing information and everything is on the store. They do come up, I think they come up just maybe half a size small, so you might want to go up if you like it baggy. If you like it fitted, go for your normal size. Anyway, this is a large. I am 6'1". I have a 42-inch chest. It fits kind of nice. Anyway, there we are. Good. Casey Cole K Cole 4001 says the economy is crap here right now. Yeah, it is a little bit. Yeah, car key says Eric Rudd. Is that what you start your car with? Yeah, I think you call it khaki, don't you, in some in some parts of the world, but that means something completely different to us. Good. Whit Anderson's buying the khaki now. Looks nice. Good. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. Andrew's pointed out, says Dunlop ISO brick, never had one of those fail. I've owned loads of those over the years. Okay, what do I mean? I've owned every iteration of it because it's changed a bit over the years. So sorry, but I have never had one fail. Moon says, I've seen the John Spencer Blues Explosion a couple of times. Pretty good. Me too. I love John Spencer. And obviously the Blues Implosion is a nod to that with a bit of a humorous a humorous tilt. We can't take it too seriously. Good. I think I'm going to bring it to a close, folks, because of the whatever the hell is going on with the machine. And I'm really sorry. It's buffery and rubbish. So Woboo wants to know, we're going to interview John Squire. If he'll come on, yes. You might be surprised by this, Woboo. There's quite a lot of people that don't want to do gear shows because they don't really feel very geary. I don't know that John is in that category, but some people just aren't into it at all. Grohl, for example, Dave Grohl, not interested in doing any gear interviews at all. So anyone who wants to do it, they're welcome on the show. If they don't want to do it, we can't really chisel them in here, if that makes sense. Good. All right, I'm going to say cheerio, folks, with apologies for the flipping buffering. Thank you for being here. Warren Haynes on Friday. I think some of the best guitar sounds we've ever recorded in this room, and what a tremendously lovely bloke. Sorry it's short, not much we can do. BV wants to know if we can have black overshirts as well. Yes, we did discuss that. If they sell well, we'll do black in the next batch. So there is black available. Just not from us yet. Groovy. All right, folks. Thanks for being here. I'm going to play you out. See if we can get copyright strike. Telephone bills, pay my automobiles, pay my girl to move, we got all the words. Bye!